So, part 2, chapter 4, painted faces and long hair, page 33. If you notice, Jack is calling the twins just Sam and Eric. That's like they're acting like they're one person, Sam and Eric. So already you have Sam and Eric, who are small twins, they're like 6 or so, lose their identity. They don't have an identity, they're just Sam and Eric. They don't have an individual identity, I mean, which is a little creepy. Get me a coconut, an empty one, and so they get him some water. He has a natural authority. Both Jack and Ralph are natural leaders. They're leaders in different ways. And we'll see how that develops. And I want you to also think about what kind of leaders they are. Like, what does it take to be a leader? And which are better leaders and which aren't. I wish we could have a class discussion on this because it would be a really good one. Maybe, hold that thought and we'll maybe have it when we return. But like, what are the different kinds of leaders? What makes a good leader? What makes people listen to a leader? Okay. So at that point, Piggy brings up that he was thinking about making a sundial. So Piggy is constantly coming up with kind of more adult ideas. And his glasses, he's the only one who has glasses. And I want you to also think about the glasses and what they might symbolize. So, glasses are still kind of symbolize intellect and man-made, kind of a man-made improvement on nature, so that you literally go from being blind to being able to see. And Piggy at one point, his glasses are knocked off, and he says, "I can't see, just blurs." So it's something that people make to literally make them able to see, and being able to see and being blind are also often used as metaphors where you're blind, meaning not just physically blind, but you're blind to what's going on in the world, or you're blind about this particular issue, like you're dating a really rotten person and everyone's telling you the person's rotten, but you're blind to it. That's how it's used. Or I finally saw the light. I finally saw what was going on. That's how, you understand. So that's what his glasses are. And then also, what else are the glasses used as in this book? They quickly realize, the boys quickly realize that when they build in the chapter 1, when they build the fire, they get all the sticks and they get all the wood and they even get the stuff to whatever that's called. I'm so bad at this. The stuff that you put on top of the fire to help the fire build. Anyway, they don't have any way to light the fire. And then someone comes up with the idea. I actually think it's Jack, that Piggy's glasses, which have the lens, can be used to light the fire. So because it's very sunny. So as you know, I'm sure you've seen this in plenty of cartoons or shows where the light goes through the lens, is concentrated into a point, and then lights it. They make it look really easy. It's actually not that easy. I've tried. I've never been able to do it, but let's just say they can do it. It's really sunny there, so maybe that's cool. So the glasses are used both as like just a symbol of being able to see, and a way to create the fire. And fire always has 2 different kind of symbols or insinuations. Fire can be destruction, and fire can be creation. So destruction is obvious. You light a fire and people die, and it can destroy houses. But also, fire that's contained is a way that civilization advances. So the invention of containing fire was a huge invention, and cooked meat was when we first, no one knows when humankind first began to cook meat, but they would have needed a fire, and then somebody, maybe, who knows, I mean, maybe an animal got burnt in a fire, running away from a fire, because there were always wildfires, and then they ate the animal and they discovered it was much easier to chew. That's the whole there's 2 purposes to cooking. One is it's easier for us to chew, so our teeth don't have to be so sharp. And the other is it preserves longer. Like if you cook an animal, it lasts longer than if you just leave it raw. Raw will rot really quickly. And of course, salting an animal, if you salt the meat, it lasts even longer. But that probably was a later discovery. I'm not sure. But anyway, fire, and even wildfire, has those two dual functions. So wildfire destroys the forest, but there's a lot of animals and plants that rely on wildfires to live, which sounds counterintuitive, but the wildfire, they've been going on for billions of years, and many plants have evolved to thrive when the forest is burnt down. It's kind of like a cyclical thing. And so kind of controlled wildfires is supposed to be the way that we're supposed to handle things as humans. So the fire is both. And if you notice in the first chapter, the fire went out of control because the kids completely didn't think to contain it. They didn't think, I mean, an adult would have lit it on the beach with rocks surrounding it. It didn't occur to them. And as you know, it's important to know this, since then, they've had a fire always continuously running on the mountain, but someone always has to tend it. So they always have people tending the fire. And the reason they have that fire is for rescue, so that somebody could see the smoke and investigate. It's kind of obvious that it's not a volcano, because it'll look like a campfire fire. So Piggy is kind of an outsider. Piggy comes up with these ideas, but he's overweight. He's not athletic. He doesn't really enjoy the same things the other boys enjoy, and he is practical. Like, he knows the adult stuff. So he's talking about a sundial, and they're like, "How's that important?" It actually isn't that important, but it's a mark of kind of civilization that if it is kind of, when you think about it, like, if you know what time it is, you can tell people, okay, by 3 o'clock we need to have a meeting, or, our shifts will end between 1 and 4, that kind of thing. Anyway, Ralph thinks it's a stupid idea. But then something horrible kind of happens. Not horrible, but shaky. And this begins the whole thing of this chapter where Ralph sees smoke on the horizon, and that's going to be from a ship. You know how they had the old-fashioned where the coal, they would have to burn coal. If anyone saw the Titanic, you knew that, like, this was later than the Titanic, but it's still those kind of boats where they have the funnels having smoke coming out of it, and that's what they see. And Piggy immediately looks towards the mountain where their smoke is, and he can't see the fire, and he begs other people to tell him, because he has the glasses and he can't see that well, and he's like, "Please, Ralph, is there a signal?" He's on page 67, and he's saying it over and over and over. Is there a signal? No one's responding. And then finally, Piggy specs, "If the fire's all out, we'll need them." That's when he runs up. He just takes off, and he runs towards where the fire is. And then he gets there. He sees Piggy's trailing way behind. He's worried that there's no fire. He doesn't know what to do. Should he go up? But if there's no fire, then he has to come back down. Should he go back to Piggy? But there might not be any time to get the spectacles, but there might not be time to start the fire. And he's like, "Oh God, oh God." He doesn't know what to do. And if you notice, he cries out to God. It might be the only time that they do that. I want you to notice if they say, "Oh God," any other time. Please. Simon is there. Simon sees nothing, but if you look at his reactions, he's in sort of a silent pain. So we can infer that he's feeling pretty much what Piggy feels, but he doesn't. Simon seems as aware as Piggy, but with a different personality. He also knows social stuff better, so he knows that he can't really speak, because he's kind of an outsider, but not an outsider. So the fire was dead, and the boat goes on. And at that moment, Jack and his former choir boys come up to the mountain all victorious, and they're super excited because they've just killed a pig. And they have this chant, kill the pig, cut her throat, spill her blood, kill the pig, cut her throat, spill her blood. And they go on and on about all the blood and how amazing it was. And there was blood all over, and Jack has blood, and they're all excited about all the blood and the squealing and the battle and killing it. And they're thrilled about killing it. And Ralph says, you let the fire out. And that's basically, there we go. This is the balance starting to shift. So in the beginning, we had civilization winning out. Jack even says, well, I'm getting meat for the group. That's why I'm doing it. And then you're starting to watch it kind of slowly decay. And this is kind of a balanced tipping point where we have the pig has been killed while they should have had the fire to alert the ship, and the ship has gone by. Their hope of rescue has gone by. The kids all start crying when they realize, and then Ralph sort of makes peace for the time. They eat the pig, and if you notice, Jack doesn't want to give Piggy a piece of the meat because Piggy just doesn't. Piggy's smart, but he doesn't understand social stuff, and he'll say he said he's just furious that they lit the fire out. So on top of page 71, you talk, but you can't even build huts. Then off you go hunting and let out the fire. This is true. And he screams, you and your blood, Jack Meridew, you and your hunting. We might have gone home. Piggy then says again, when everyone feels really bad and there's silence, you didn't ought to have let that fire out. You said you'd keep the smoke going. Now, obviously, Jack is now going to attack Piggy because Piggy's an easy target. Jack knows that he's not going to be able to fight back. So he does. He lets out all his hostility and anger on Piggy, knocks his glasses off, and one lens shatters. And yeah, Simon is the one to get it for him and give it back to him. But symbolically, one lens is now shattered. So think about what that might mean symbolically if the glasses were kind of a symbol of civilization and inventiveness. And he's about to not give him meat. Jack is about to not give Piggy meat, but then Simon gives him his share. Because Simon just is that kind of person. Like, Simon just wants to do good and is kind of at peace. And then Jack is furious at Simon and then throws him a piece of meat. Anyway, at the end, Ralph calls a meeting. So I don't know what's going to happen. They will go to the meeting. But if you notice, it's contrasted with kill the pig, cut her throat, bash her in. Okay? Ralph is at the end of the chapter on page 75. Ralph watched them envious and resentful. Not till they flagged, and the flag means got tired of things, and the chant died away did he speak. I'm calling an assembly. One by one they halted and stood watching him. They're like doing a dance. Kill the pig, cut her throat, bash her in. With the conch. I'm calling a meeting, even if we have to go down in the dark. Down on the platform, when I blow it, now. He turned away and walked off down the mountain. So he doesn't even... He is a leader, and so is Jack. And we'll see as it goes on what that means. And that's chapter 4. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And we can do this.